Welcome back, YouTube. It is still Friday night, or is it Saturday night? It's Saturday night. That's bad that I got to look at my phone to know that. Yeah, it's Saturday night. You know, it feels like Friday night because last night didn't feel like Friday night. I just did nothing for my Friday night last night. I literally went home, unloaded my groceries. Generally, grocery shopping is not a Friday night activity for me. But yeah, I unloaded my transmission is getting bad. Unloaded my groceries and laid down, started editing a little video, and I think I finished it and got it uploading before I passed out, but I pretty much passed out like right after that. Didn't do any of my usual Friday night karaoke festivities, nor did I pick up another job on Wonolo, which, you know, sometimes I do that when I have the time and I can. I did tonight though. I started at midnight 05, which I think it's funny that they've scheduled it for midnight 05 and not midnight, but as I explained earlier, I'm sure that's being done just to avoid confusion as to what day the shift actually is. Although at Amazon, GIR3, we used to have what was called a second half night shift. As to be not to be confused with second half night schedule, which is working Wednesday through Saturday night. But what was called a second half night shift, the lunch break was midnight to midnight 30. And the second half night shift, which I used to work from time to time, I liked working them. There was only one thing I didn't like about it, and that was about how there were limitations on how many shifts you could work consecutively and whatnot. And like, say I worked a Saturday night, second half night shift, it would be considered a Sunday shift. So which of course that wouldn't mess me up, but I forget the details, and it doesn't matter anymore because I don't work there anymore. But anyway, that particular shift was 12:30 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. and it would show up on the schedule as, even though it was, you know, Friday or Saturday night, it would show up on the next day because after midnight it's another day, so it would be on the calendar as the next day and as the next date. And even though it started at 12:30 a.m., that would still throw some people off. And I remember several people, I don't think I ever made that mistake. I certainly don't recall ever making that mistake. But I do remember some of my friends and coworkers that would show up to work after lunch. They're like, oh yeah, I'm doing a second half night shift. I'm like, cool. They come into work at about 12:30, and then at about 1:30 or 1:15, there'd be somebody from HR telling them, hey, you're not supposed to be here. And then they check the schedule, and not only were they not supposed to be there, but they did a no-show the night before, and didn't even realize that they had put in for voluntary. It was always a VET shift. No, you know, nobody's scheduled for that, but yeah, they put in a voluntary extra time shift or a second half night and just confused the date. Anyway, I'm completely clear on when I'm going to work. I need to be there a little after midnight, which means I've got karaoke hours free. Priscilla had asked me to come to her place after I got off work today, but she hasn't been texting me for quite a while, so I think I'm going to head over to Wander Inn maybe be one of the first ones singing tonight. Got a little, I guess an extra order of pasta was made or canceled or something. Usually there's some extra food at Domino's. At one point there was an extra pizza, which was completely my fault. I fucked up. Certainly not intentional to come up on an extra pizza. I felt really bad about it, but they put me on ovens because there was an abundance of drivers, so it was going to be a while till I drove again. And generally speaking, like ovens will be on a busy night. Ovens are handled by drivers that are waiting in the queue to get another delivery, which is all well and good, but I'm not really fully trained on that. Like, by all means, I'm all about train me on it. I'm all about learning how to do it. Let's get me good at this. Let's make me more useful around here. But on the same token, don't leave my ass there, because I don't know completely what I'm doing, and I'm bound to make mistakes, and I did. I was preparing an order for Juan, and made a couple of mistakes with Juan's order. The first mistake with Juan's order that I made that I didn't notice is, at this point I've been trained that if there's a C on the ticket, that means it's a carry-out order, so it just goes under the heat lamp, wait for them to come in. Nobody told me to, when I complete an order, and there's people in the lobby, to call it out. And I guess I should have thought of that, but I saw the order. I thought I completed and cut and boxed and completed the order and did everything like I was supposed to do. I thought I did. And I just put it on the shelf. So meanwhile, Juan is in the lobby waiting. So he's waiting for pizza that's done. But there was another order, which actually was going to be my delivery order. Go me, who did I screw? Well, I kind of screwed myself. Delivery order that was supposed to be, I think, a pepperoni pizza and a cheese pizza, both well done. Well, I didn't. Nobody told me what the shorthand on the ticket was for well done, so I didn't make it well done. But I pulled it because I thought the next order coming out was for Juan, and at least I got 2 of Juan's 3 pizzas correct, but I just didn't really look that closely at what was on the toppings of the first one that I cut up and boxed up for Juan, and it was the pepperoni pizza that I should have shoved back in the oven a couple feet so it could be well done, and I cut it up, and all of Juan's pizzas were supposed to be pepperoni and sausage, so Juan ended up getting one without sausage on it. And then when the next pepperoni and sausage came up, I'm like, what is that? I'm like, ooh, I bet that was in Juan's order, which tells me that the one I need for my order is supposed to be well done, probably went out the door with Juan. Because we'd already passed the mistake of, oh wow, I missed my turn. Trying to take the convenient back road way in, and I'm running my mouth and not paying attention to where I'm going. So yeah, somebody had already noticed that Juan was sitting there waiting, that the order was there. Like, I think he came up and asked, how much longer for my pizza? And then of course it's like, oh, it's just sitting here on the shelf, D. Who just put it here on the shelf? And I'm like, that would be me. Sorry, I was told when the last direction I was given regarding carry-out orders was if it has a C on it, put it on the shelf. And I did. So yeah, that was problematic. So he'd already out the door with it, and I just realized, I said, most likely, I said I wasn't looking as closely at those. I was just assuming they were coming out of the oven in the order the tickets were. Well, the other thing I was getting confused was with the order of the tickets. Now, every pizza place I've ever worked, the physical tickets, which will go in a clip thing, slide down the line as they're being worked on. That's not how this Domino's does it. the pizzas slide from left to right, but for some reason they have the tickets sliding from right to left. Since the pizzas were going from left to right, I pulled the rightmost ticket, which was Juan's. Which there wasn't that many orders out, so I didn't fuck things up as badly as it could have. But anyway, I was like, well, why do we have the tickets going in a different direction than the pizzas? And she's like, oh, well, because we read left to right. I said, what do you mean? Oh, when you read from left to right. And I'm like, well, not when I'm reading Hebrew. And that got me a dirty look from the manager. But just saying, I read Hebrew from. Not that I'm particularly good at reading Hebrew, and it's been years since I've read Hebrew, and I would imagine every bit of Hebrew that I've learned I forgot by now. But I do remember that it's read from right to left. So, she looked me funny on that, but then I explained my logic. I said, I think this is how I made that mistake, and I explained the logic to one of the other drivers, who I guess has worked there for quite some time and is experienced. And when I explained, I said, well, every place I've ever worked, the tickets will slide on that thing. They'll be put in, and they'll be sliding along with the orders in the direction the orders are moving. I said, and the workflow is moving from the pizza line, which is on the left, and then they come from the left. You got another toy for me?
Yeah.
Nice. That's Case Logic. Nice.
I don't know if the cassettes are any good in there.
Oh, I'm just happy to get the case, bro. These were the best back in the day. Thank you. I'll be in a little bit. Tim hooks me up with cassettes and cassette cases when he finds them. It doesn't look like anything particularly great in here as far as cassettes, but any cassette is a good cassette in my book. But the winner that's a small Case Logic case with a shoulder strap. Back in the day, Case Logic was the brand to buy portable media cases, and I do own a lot of Case Logic cases, and that's pretty cool. Wow. I should wrap this up since I'm being weird talking to myself in the parking lot, but I wanted to kind of finish up this story for anybody who's interested in what it's like for me working at Domino's Pizza. Keep in mind, it's only my third day. First day, I was doing basic, just learning stuff. And I was actually fairly busy delivering. Second day, the other driver cut out early, and it was pretty much just me and Samantha all night. So even though I wasn't busy delivering, I was busy delivering. At the only time where I stopped delivering, I was busy washing dishes, and that just happened to be when the dust storm rolled in and when the monsoon storm rolled in. So I got really lucky with that. I wasn't stuck driving in the shitty weather. And then by the time I went back out to drive, when we got another little wave of orders, which went till pretty much we closed, the rain had stopped. And that was the time I went to the thing, and then I went to start my car, and it wouldn't start, which was scary. I haven't had that problem since. It seems like there's an electrical cable kind of loose somewhere. Kind of concerned about that. But it hasn't reared its ugly head. Now, the transmission's been problematic today. But anyway, back to the flow of the tickets. So I'm explaining, like, well, this is just kind of how I said, I know I've been told they go from that the tickets slot move from left to right, and the newest, the first orders coming out are the ones on the left. I said, but every place I've ever worked, the tickets follow the workflow, and I'm seeing the workflow coming from the left to the right. It's like, so it seemed like the person pulling, if they're boxing up orders and we box the orders at this end of the table, it would make sense for the next order to be bagged to be the ticket that's closest to that person, so they're not having to reach across the person who could potentially be another person cutting pizzas. And the other woman who's worked there for a long time, mind you, Samantha's only been the manager there for a couple of weeks. She transferred from another store. And plus, I mean, how many years could she have possibly worked there? She's 19. Not to diss her for that. She's sharp. In fact, I was blown away to find out she's 19, because she's exceptionally mature and on point stuff. But I get the feeling Marlena, who I would imagine is in her mid to late 40s, has probably been working there longer. I could be wrong, though. Anyway, I'm rolling in. But anyway, Marlena totally got it when I said that. She's like, yeah, that would actually probably work better. She goes, but everybody's just used to it the way it is. I'm like, okay, everybody but me. But that's fine. I'm not the boss. And then I think I was right at about that point where Samantha chimed in with, well, it's because when you read from left to right. And I'm like, well, not when not when I'm reading Hebrew, which might have been lost on her. But of course, I love obscure references that are lost on people. Anyway, I'm gonna go inside, get myself a beer, and eat my thing of chicken pasta, which I had a couple bites of, and it's delicious. I'm super hungry. I do want to talk more about Domino's, about the driver app. I forget what it's called, like delivery. It's called one thing on the icon, and it's called something completely different in the Apple App Store. But it's got some issues in it. I am not doing well with my driver score. And I want to talk about that more later. And the fact that I noticed a lot of really negative reviews of it, and I'm wondering if those reviews might be from disgruntled drivers who got let go due to a low driver score. But the app, in the way it scores drivers, literally encourages unsafe driving. And I'm going to go into some clarity on that, and I'm contemplating taking that up the ladder, because that's nothing to do with Phoenix Pizza or Phoenix Pizza Inc., whatever it's called, the franchisee. That's a Domino's thing. So I want to start writing some emails and try to see how, well, obviously I have no problem figuring out what store I'm at, but yeah, there's some issues. I want to go into some detail on that later, and I'm actually, part of me is tempted to take it all the way to a lawsuit to kind of get them to cease and desist the way, some of the things that it rates drivers on. Like, just for example, before I head into the bar, because people want to know why I'm sitting in my car. Somebody cuts me off. Obviously, the safe driving maneuver is to hit my brakes and not rear end them. That's kind of a no-brainer. But it takes off points for you anytime you slow down too fast because you hit your brakes. So what am I supposed to do? Plow into him? Why should I have points taken against me as a driver for doing a safe traffic maneuver? There's more. I'll get to them later.